Hi, I'm Uncle Mark. Welcome to the channel. Just working on our friend's 2011 GMC Terrain with the power steering hose that's burst. Well, it's been leaking for a while. It's not completely puking out yet, but she's going through power steering fluid every couple days. It's getting to be a mess, and it's getting kind of costly. So I said I'd change the hose for her if she bought it. So I thought, you might as well come along for the ride, see how hard it is to do. I've never done one on a Terrain before. It should be fun. So what I've got to do first is take this engine cover off. So the oil filler cap's got to come out because that holds it down a little bit. There also should be a bolt here. I don't know. It's a missing, I don't know what size it was. And then there's a couple clips under here. It's just a ball in a socket kind of thing. So you just give it a little pull straight up. It's a little tight. It'll come off. And you see they just go into these little holes here. There's 3 of them. And the hole for the screw, and then of course where your oil filler cap goes on. Set that aside. Now I'm going to grab that oil filler cap and put it back on so that nothing falls in the engine. You never know, dirt, dust, tools, mice. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off. Now this is something you don't need to do, but I'm sure there's going to be somebody out there that says, oh, it would be easy to reach it from up top here. So I'm just going to show you that's not the case on these vehicles. Because if we look down here, there is basically, well, you have your reservoir. We just saw that for the power steering fluid, but you can't see anything there. It's basically on the left-hand side frame rail. You can't see the accessory belt at all. You can't see the power steering pump. You can't see the hoses there. Just this one hose that's in the way for the low pressure. So I'm going to have to gain access by taking a wheel off. So I'm just going to loosen the lug nuts here. I'm not going to take them all the way off. Then I'm going to jack the vehicle up and then take them off properly. Put the tire out of the way. I need an oil pan because it's going to probably make a mess. Made a little bit of mess on the garage floor. I'm going to show you what I need to take off here. So this pulley here, as you can see, is actually right there is the nut that we're going to have to take off. 18 millimeter is what it is. And give you a closer view of where this hose goes. This is the one that's the high pressure one. So it goes from the pump, goes down, comes up here. It's got that wrapper on it. And then it goes to the driver's side. It was leaking on the driver's side though. Probably yours will be too, for whatever reason. So again, 18 millimeters is that, but then you notice an unknown size up here. That doesn't turn, but it's part of the pump. I didn't use that. I just was able to get this lower nut off, and because I didn't see that there actually was a place to hold that upper one. Fortunately, I didn't break anything. I'm going to put a jack stand under there. I need this as high as I can get it to work under here. You might not have as many problems as I did because I had some lighting I wanted under here. I'm trying to do some camera work, so I need my hand to move. Now there's the one that's leaking. You can see that. And then it goes up into your steering rack. I'm showing you from a different angle here. So the 2 on the right, just ignore those because they have nothing to do with this. It's this one on the left here. This one. And if I could show you without all this stuff and the way you'd see, there it is, it's leaking. So easy enough. Now to try and figure out, looking under here, I thought, oh, the way these things are intertwined or whatever, how hard is that going to be? Once I got one out and put the other one in, they just kind of fall into place. When you get both ends kind of hooked up loosely, the hose will sit the way it wants to sit. I don't believe there's anything here that's going to harm anything, so it's not going to hit a exhaust or anything. Let me see it. If I can show you, just give me a second here. Let's move. We'll move back to the passenger side. This is where we're going to have to start anyway. I'll reposition you a little bit. This is looking in from where the wheel is, right? Look up, we see the pulley there for the power steering pump. And we see our line. Having a little bit of trouble This is tight. I mean, really tight. There's no room in here for my hands. It's like, how am I going to get this thing loose? How am I going to get leverage on here? So this is what I decided to do. Normally, if you're using the box stand, the end that I'm clamping on here, you could take another wrench. On the opposite side there, they don't suggest that, and have some leverage, but since I'm using the open end, I don't know how to get the leverage, so I figured this will probably work. And it kind of did. Might have to move it around a little bit in case it's in the wrong spot, but made it just long enough. And again, I can't really move it very much. Left to right, I got hoses in the way, I've got pulleys in the way, the struts in the way, and then it's stuck on there. What? Had that happen a lot. Slips on nice and easy. I don't know if it's because there's dirt on there and then I'm twisting it the wrong way. But I'm committed now. So one way or another, it's coming out. Oh, there you go. So that was okay, but one thing I found is this normal wrench length just not really helping. Amazingly enough, I think I got her. There you go. She's starting to leak. Put some gloves on so I don't poison myself. Oh, still tight. I got a little stubby 18 millimeter. These are handy. No, I bought them quite a while ago. Use them lots. A lot of places you just don't have enough room. If you can loosen it with something longer, you can play around with the stubbies. Here we go. So I'm not sure how much is going to come out of here. I don't know if she's almost drained this pump dry again. But I've got my oil pan in the bottom there to catch it. Make sure it doesn't splash in my face. Goggles will probably be good too. But no, that's what came out. Of course, it spilled on, I don't know, a couple tablespoons maybe. Now this is going to wiggle all the way to the driver's side. Try and get this side off now. I hear that grunting helps if you're playing tennis. Is it tennis? I think so. I don't know if it gives you 3% or 38% faster, like the ball will move faster if you grunt. So I'm thinking if you grunt, maybe I've got 38% more strength.
Oh, this is going to be a pain.
Oh my. I'm going to try the stubby. Like it's loose. Just have to get it on there. And it's the right size. But it seems once I get it on there, it's like I can't.
Come on, Michael.
Goes on like butter. I don't know if it's the way I'm twisted or what.
Come on. Oh, yeah.
And the noises I'm making, the grunting and that, it's like I need to. Because you're all contortioned in this way and that way, laying on the ground with your arms bending the way they're not meant to bend. I'm sure this would be a lot easier on a hoist because you could be standing straight up. But I don't have a hoist.
Timmy would say this sucks.
I'm talking about Timmy from Online Auto Repair videos. Now, their website does have a subscription if you want to see how to do something, but it's step by step like my videos. And one thing is he's got a lot more videos than I do, so it doesn't hurt. Actually, there's some kind of tech support you can get through them as well. There's a little bit of a fee, but hey, I'd use it if I needed some help. I do know Tim. His knowledge is worth whatever it costs. I think you're saving, how much are you saving? You're doing this yourself. So anyway, it's coming out finally. Just expecting it to just blast out, and nothing drips. I don't know why it's not. There's got to be something in the rack. See if anything comes out of the hose. I've got my oil pan underneath here too. So it just dripped a little bit.
Trying if it leak any more out. seem to want, oh, it just wants to come out this way.
Not really sure. There we go. See it dripping.
Okay, it's just coming out. That easy, huh?
It just kind of pulled out. I had to twist it around a little bit this way and that way to get, because there's a hook on that other end there that goes into the pump.
Left, turn right.
So I thought, is this going to be hard to put it in? But not really. Would have been even easier if I could have jacked the vehicle up another 6 inches. Remember, safety first. Make sure you have jack stands under there. You never know what could happen with just a couple jacks on their own. Here's the new one. It did look the same when I took a peek at it. A couple little O-rings in there as well. They're going to go on the ends. And it's going to kind of sit this way. The right side is going to go to the pump and the left side goes to the steering rack, kind of like that. And I figured there's so much garbage underneath there, like mud and dirt and that. I don't want stuff getting in the hose and then clogging something up. So I just took a couple of plastic bags I had, like little Ziploc bags. I think other parts came with them. I usually save them. And then I was going to thread it through here. I'm kind of happy I did because I'm sure, like, look at that other hose and you've got suspension parts and that all full of, well, especially since this thing's been leaking, oil everywhere.
Over. This guy impossible.
I figured what I'd do is I would do the driver's side first, and then what you'll have to do is like get the hose to actually fit to the passenger side. Thread it in that way. On this vehicle, there's nothing that's going to really rub against, or there's no heat shields or anything. I think it's all too high up. So I thought I was going to have to try and figure out how this thing sits in there, or is it mounted somehow, but it wasn't.
Why are you fighting me, huh?
This would have been easier too, maybe with two people. If somebody could have held the other side of it, then you could say, can you turn it to the right or turn it to the left? Here I'm trying to do both ends at the same time.
Try and twist this guy around.
I've sped this up a little bit.
There. Put this in first.
They're skippable chapters, so you can just skip this to where I actually start screwing it in if you want. Otherwise, you might as well see the trials I'm going through because you're going to go through the same. Figured I'll grab just a little bit of oil. Try not to grab the dirty stuff. Put it on the little O-ring. I sit it on the end there. Just have to take all this plastic off. But again, I think I did well in putting the plastic on just so that I didn't get a bunch of dirt on it. Or in it. Or on the threads. It just kind of goes in there.
It needs to go under and over or something.
And then the fight to get it in the right spot. Give me a couple more seconds. A little bit of twisting, a little bit of turning. And it's basically ready to go in. You can see the new hose kind of going towards the passenger side, and it comes out the passenger side here right where the pump is. Have to put it on the other side of the hose there. It shouldn't touch the steering rack or the tie rod end because it's going to be held by the power steering pump right away. You'll see in a second here. I was all worried it has to go some special way. As long as it kind of lays flat in there, the pump and the rack will hold the hose where it needs to be, which is kind of nice. Just have to put it behind this low pressure hose. I'm going to put the little O-ring on it. Don't want to forget that or it's going to leak. This would be better with two hands. You could hold the hose on the left a little bit more. I'm going to do here, but because you want to thread this gently and you don't want to cross thread it. So you might have to move the hose, like jiggle it a little bit as you're spinning this piece. And I even found, even right now, I jiggled it a little bit and then it would go a little more. So of course this does not go all the way in. You remember the way it was on the other side, or when we took the old one out. But you should be able to turn it, I don't know, a few turns by hand first. And then it's in. Should be able to feel it that it's not going anywhere. If it wasn't threaded all the way in, you'd be able to take environmental spill. I cleaned that up. If it wasn't all the way in, you'd be able to take the actual metal hose and move it up and down into the pump. So back on the driver's side now, I'm going to try and tighten this. And it's not that it's tight, it's just there's no room. Look, I'm using a stubby here. It's hitting there, and then it won't come off the nut. And then you just get it a little bit and you hit something else, and then I try and turn the wrench around the other way to give it a little more room. Just back and forth and back and forth. So I'll speed it up a little bit here. Actually, it might be easier if I go through the driver's wheel well again. So that's what I'm going to do, I think. But you can see how it's routed. It just goes through there. It's only going to sit one way. I'm going to want to check for leaks after, once we get some fluid in it. So here you see the new one, it goes down and it comes up that way into the bottom of the pump. Just in case you weren't sure what you were looking at. Like I said, I'm going to go through the wheel well on the driver's side here now. Might be even easier with the tire off, but I didn't want to go through all that trouble. So there you can see it here again. It's really hard to, it's worse with a camera. I'm sure you could stick your head in there. I was just checking for leaks. No leaks there. Put this back together now. Something that you didn't need to take apart anyway, but I just thought somebody's going to say, oh, you can go from the top. It's like, not really. So I quickly put that back together. Just 2 screws. At least anyway, you know how to get to your throttle body if you need to. Maybe we'll do a video on that one of these days, cleaning them. Now, the reservoir right here should be nice and empty. Just going to make sure that all the fluid's off it. I'll show you what empty and full is. It doesn't take much to go from add to full. Minimum, maximum, see that? And again, it's not a very big reservoir. So I'm going to put a little bit in there, try and run it a little bit, check it again. It should pump it right away out of there. So I'm going to keep doing that until we start seeing some results as to fluid staying in the reservoir. GM recommends the Mercon 6. You can get it from GM. I got it from another brand, but they are not. Ooh, I kind of overfilled it. There's going to be air in it. That's why we're going to run it and go, left, right, a little bit. Remember, probably work a little better if I had the wheels on the ground.
Come on.
But I was going to check for leaks. So
One way.
what I'm going to do here is start it up and at least, get it working a little bit. It'd work harder if it was on the ground. I just wanted to make sure there were no leaks. So let's see how much it says we have in there now. And it's not even touching the minimum. So I'm going to add a little more. The lid back on. Check it again. Still nothing in there. Try a little more. It's easy to check a few times and be wrong. Then overfill it, which they don't care for. Oh, look underneath, no leaks here. Yay. Good to check for leaks. Look on this side too, that's dry there. Other than the old fluid that was there. I should have tried cleaning it off, but spray some brake cleaner or something on it and then hose it off with something. Dry from the top on the driver's side. I think what I'm going to do is look underneath on the driver's side as well, and I can see both sides of it. And yeah, it's not leaking. So that's good. And I checked it, and it's just about at the minimum. So again, making sure I'm using the right fluid. I think she was using just normal power steering fluid, and that's not what they suggest, and there's a reason for that. This might have some special additives. We're close, so I'm going to put the wheel on, put the car back on the ground. Then the power steering can work a little bit when we turn it left to right kind of thing. Try and get any air that's in there out. And I got the book out because I'm not really sure what the torque specs are for the wheel nuts or lug nuts. I found it right here. It says 140 foot-pounds on page 12-3. So I'm just going to speed this up. It's sped up. You should do a crisscross pattern. So what I usually do is I torque them to, like, let's say 80 or something. And then once they're all done, I'll torque them to the next half of whatever one. What did I say was 140? And then the last batch I'll do 140. Now this has a special way to go on. There you go. I tried it quite a few different ways. It's like, oh, there's a big finger there that has to go in a hole. And it just clicks on. So I dropped her down. Sounds pretty quiet. Check this one more time. Can't remember. Is this the last time I checked it? Oh, yeah, okay. It's just, I would say, a smidgen over. What it's going to have to do. It's just a little bit over. Well, that much. How about that much? So you maybe wonder how much I used. And I used half of this bottle. This is a liter bottle. Or how much of a quart is it? Put the cover back on now. Need your oil filler cap off, because that holds part of it down. They snap and click down. There's also that bolt there that's missing. I don't know if she has it or not. I'll have to ask her next time. This thing won't fall off, especially with the oil filler cap holding it down. Make sure that's there. And it should be good. It was that easy. So that was okay. It would have been nice if a guy would have been up on a hoist and then you could, do everything standing up instead of crawling in a space that, deep and trying to twist around and kind of, especially if you've got these long gangly arms and legs. If you're tall, you know what I mean. Anyway, we got it done and it's working fine. So if you like the video, like, share, subscribe down in the corner as well. Let your friends all know about it. If you do have a Terrain, I'm going to put a playlist right up here, just above the big blue sign there. You'll see an yellow arrow pointing to a card that you can click on, and there'll be more videos on this vehicle as more things happen to it, because it's getting a little older. Anyway, you stay safe, save some more money by trying to do some of these things yourself, but be careful as always, or at least now you know what needs to be done if a mechanic is going to charge you for it. Until next time, I'm Uncle Mark saying bye-bye for now. You and your family stay safe. Remember to be safe. Your safety is your responsibility and should be priority number one. Also, give me the thumbs up if you like the video. Plus, please subscribe and you'll get all the notifications. It's easy. The little dog will show you how. Ring the bell. Ring the bell. No way, huh? No. hole the heck is this supposed to go on?